Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
It was dominant Dom yesterday as Dom Sibley came of age as a test batsman, and England had inarguably their best day of the winter. 218 for 4, they lead by 264, 6 wickets in hand. When will they bat to? Will they be bowled out in the first session? You can never tell with this England. They lost 2 late wickets. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. And hacking his way into the studio this morning, since he gave up dairy, he's been a picture of health. But not today. He's been standing by too many smokers by the bus stop. It's Gally Naylor.
Yes, good day, good dusk, all that to you. I'm just glad to be here and glad to
What do you
be
mean
watching.
alive?
Well, there is a bit of that. But glad to be watching Test match cricket. I can't say the game is set up perfectly because England have got about 95% chance of winning this match, I would suggest. But, we're in for an interesting day.
We surely are. And it looks bright and sunny. On my right, a man referred to. If you were enjoying the owl tweets last night, it was a lot of fun. It staved off complete boredom for me at work when I didn't have anything to do. We have Nahowl M. Pandy.
A hooty good morning to you.
Oh, hooty. And on their way to the crease are, one set England batsman and one New England batsman, Dominic Sibley and Ben Stokes, and we shall jingle them up.
Efficient batting. He made huge runs, the rumour spread by word of mouth. This guy's really talented. Dominic Sibley. Dominic
caught up in Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean. And he called me a said he'd punch my said I made him. The arm looked up and said, "You angry redhead, you'll get fined again."
Now, I think Dwayne Pretorius has an over to finish off, does he not? No, indeed not. Who took the last wicket last night? I'm trying to remember.
Anrich Dorkier, last ball of the over.
Oh, it was actually last ball. Pretorius then into Dom Sibley, and he defends like he did so often yesterday, up to the man at mid-off, and there is no run. We've got a silly man in the on Hayden position. Very irritating for Ben Stokes. I wouldn't be surprised if he just wanted to swat him with his bat right in front of the non-striker. And I don't like that position.
There was some a bit of consternation. The umpires were worried about Resivan Dussen, who is in that on Hayden, occasionally basically walking on the middle of the wicket.
Yes, well, there you go. Pretorius in wide of the off stump. He dragged that down a little bit, and Sibley, 15 runs short of what would be a first Test century, leaves that alone. Much clearer day yesterday. It was cloudy, and it seemed to me late on in the day it looked very, very dark indeed.
Why would you be opening with Pretorius?
Well, they've only got one ball over to the new ball.
Oh, maybe, but surely you'd warm up or have a bit of a stretch for Philander. But fair enough, that one over to the new ball. I still would have had Rabada at him.
Pretorius in to Sibley outside the line of off stump, and again he defends into the covers. Maharaj, I think it is, who comes into field.
Pretorius.
He's coming in from the Kelvin Grove end. Who was Kelvin Grove?
He's coming in from the Weinberg end.
Oh, right, okay. But at the other end is the Kelvin Grove end. And who is Kelvin Grove? And who is Weinberg? Please let us know.
Messy Jazz.
Oh, no, he's not coming with
Disgraceful.
Not an owl joke. A slip in the gully. Onto the back foot goes Sibley. It's going to get all sorts of different for him very soon, because this ball is an X ball almost, and it's coming very gently off the surface. There's very little bounce, and when Rabada comes on with that new cherry, it's going to be a different proposition.
I agree, Gary. Though I don't think there was much loose starting with Philander with this one over with this old ball from the Weinberg end, and then have Rabada steaming with the new from the other.
You just want to do what the opposition don't want. I'll come to messages in a moment.
Short ball does manage to get that one up, but it's the easiest of sways away from it by Sibley.
Messages says, "Morning all.
Morning all.
Is that Howling Hendo, Nak Owl Pandey, and Gary Nowler on comms?
It
All
is.
set."
Oh, Messi, that's magnificent. That is magnificent. I think my favourite one was one of my own last night, the wonderful Australian TV commentator Richie Barnow. I thought that was brilliant. Two for two. Outside the stump by, this could run and run. Sibley left alone. There was another one about Tawny Gregg and John Snowy Owl. I don't know, one or two others that were rather amusing.
Oh dear. Jess, on a much less light-hearted note, says he's delighted to report that today's BBL fixture is delayed by rain, which of course is very much what's required down amongst the dreadful events in Australia.
I have to say I was really upset yesterday because when I got into work I looked at the Guardian, and apparently one of the worst affected areas in New South Wales at the moment is a place called Eden, ironically. And I stopped off in Eden when driving around there a few years ago, and it's a lovely little spot. Lovely spot. And it's going to be burnt to a cinder by the sounds of it.
On Crick Tracker, we've got Ankit Salgia, who says, "I think match is going to be draw."
Really?
Can we see a draw?
Do we have any weather? Do we have any weather about?
England are going to bat on until tomorrow afternoon.
The draw is 6-1 with our friends at Betway.
6-1. 600-1.
England 11-2 on, South Africa 10-1.
Right, well that sounds about right. But you can never tell. We thought that this pitch would completely break up, but it hasn't done so yet. Anyway, let's see. I've got a strange feeling they've got a spin to start the morning. They're not going to take the new ball, and it's going to be Keshav Maharaj who bowls his first ball to Ben Stokes. A little bit of turn into the left-hander, and he plays it back to him.
Did you...
There's a bowler there from South Africa. Started out bowling pace.
28th over from him, swept by Ben Stokes immediately down to deep backward square. There's Philander doing the fielding, wondering why he's not been given the new ball and isn't bowling.
Interesting events in Australia in the Test match. Not so much the result, which was rather a disappointing hammering of New Zealand's shadow squad to some extent by Australia, but a particular instance which I'll come to after the next ball.
Well, he's going to get a go at the right-hander. He's going to still bowl from over the wicket by the looks of things, into what he hopes is some developing rough outside Sibley's leg stump. He's got 5 on the onside that I can see. A man very fine, not exactly 45, more at 60 degrees. Square leg. Oh, square legged. Now where's he going? He's going to move. Where's he going to go to? No, he's just going to...
Deep short leg.
He's going to go to short leg. And of course, immediately, just as I'm about to give you the field, they change the picture and I can't see.
In fact, he's going to silly mid off, Peter
Oh.
Malan.
News on
Yes.
Twitter, MKR Cinema says Vernon Philander is ill.
He's out
I
there.
see.
He's out there. He just fielded the ball. I'm sure that was Philander. There he is at square cover, isn't it? Is that him?
Certainly looks like him.
Yeah, he's broadish. Maharaj then to Sibley outside his off leg stump, and he plays a delicate little leg glance, but just for that shot the man has been put finer, and so there is no run.
So what happened towards the end of the Australian innings when he were batting for a declaration is there was first, I think, a warning given to Marnus Labuschagne, and then subsequently 5 penalty runs awarded.
Ooh.
Come to in a moment.
In again to Sibley. Sibley pads that away. It'll run down to the boundary because it wasn't stopped by de Kock. It'll go into the boundary, but it won't be 4 runs. It'll be a dead ball.
So the penalty runs were for running down the middle of the pitch, which batsmen always do in the 3rd innings, setting up a 4th innings. But it's interesting, the umpires hardly ever take any action against it. But England will certainly be looking to do that at every opportunity here.
It was retroactively applied, which meant
Yeah.
that New Zealand retroactively avoided the follow-on target.
Or was that in the second innings we're talking about?
Yeah, it was in the...
Oh, the
setting up
Australia
fourth
innings, yeah. Oh, now, what's happened there? That's gone down the leg side. It's been well taken by de Kock, who then stands there and thinks, oh, that nearly shaved the leg
It
stump,
almost
didn't
bowled
it?
him round his legs. That's
Yeah.
a really good take by de
So
Kock.
it was a reduction in the target, I think, by 5 runs, but
Okay.
it was an academic target in any case.
Final ball of his 28th over, first of the morning. Flatter from Maharaj, just forced to mid-wicket by Sibley. Yeah, no, I'm just curious because it looked to me as if they were going to have another delivery.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they are going to have another delivery.
And the big Vern is actually Robin Peterson, isn't it? So
Keegan Peterson.
oh, is it Keegan Peterson?
I think they showed...
I think they've. He lost count there, the umpire, and he was just checking. So finally we realised that it's all over, and England are 219 for 4.
By the Minute Cricket and MKR Cricket are confirming that he's ill. Anna Forsyth says, oh, I get it, because Dominic Sibley looks like an angry owl. Very good. And she says, hello all. And if you want to say hello to all of us, or indeed hello to the wider community of Guerrilla Cricket listeners, you can do so on Twitter at Guerrilla Cricket. And you can also get in touch in other ways with Crick Tracker on Facebook and somehow on the YouTube, but I'm never quite sure how that works.
Well, you turn it on, and you go to the Guerrilla Cricket page, and then you watch. And you can comment, of course, should you wish to. The GPL is open, by the way. The Guerrilla Prediction League, which is a game of skill. You go to guerrillacricket.com. You go to competitions on our website. That is our website, in fact. And you estimate how many runs will be scored in total in the day. You can guess as many times as you want, as long as you pay us £1 each time. And in the pot at the moment is 50 quid. The more of you that take part, obviously the bigger the pot becomes. Here comes Pretorius, still with the old ball, it would appear, bowling to Stokes. Stokes onto the back foot, defends in upright fashion to mid-on with Dean Elgar fields.
Well, we just saw Vern is definitely on the field. We just saw Keegan Peterson is on for Anrich Nokia.
Oh, right.
Because they got presumably Rabada is on, or are all their pace bowlers suffering? Maybe we'll get some more information about that in due course. Pretorius in with just one slip and a fine-ish gully. Bowls to Stokes into his hip. He tries to turn it, makes no contact. Ball drops out on the offside.
Yes, I hope listeners will forgive my error in seeing Peterson and thinking it was Robin Peterson, who's probably about 45 now.
Robin Peterson's doing some coaching, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
there
I
we
think
go.
so.
But there is an enormous range of spellings of Peterson in South Africa. Of course, it is a multilingual country, so you are going to get that. But every Peterson who turns up appears to have a different combination of I's and E's and O's.
In comes Pretorius. Good length ball, brings Stokes forward in defence.
De Kock's come up to the stumps immediately to Dwayne Pretorius. He did really well standing up to the stumps to Pretorius and Philander yesterday with the little bit of bounce that there is in this wicket, uneven bounce. I'm more impressed by Quinton de Kock's keeping every time I watch him. He's superb.
Yeah, he's very light of touch, isn't he?
I think he has got a problem in going across first slip, though.
Well, there is that, but I think that's because he's quite good, and he wants to go for everything. Defended again, a good length delivery up to mid-on. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do.
Well, he misses them as well, and he definitely sold Van der Dussen down the river in the first innings when he went 3/4 of the way, stopped, and then.
Well, he did that in the first test.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I think he's much better standing up than he used to be, but I think his decision making standing back has still got some work to do.
I've always thought of him as quite a decisive keeper. He when he goes, he goes.
Here we go. Here is Pretorius into Stokes. Stokes tries to play a forcing shot, very much on the up. He might even have been on his back foot more successfully, but anyway, it's up to mid-off. Is that Rabada at mid-off? I think it is.
Yeah. Well,
That's
Ling Mao.
That's Vernon
Oh, that's
Philander.
Vernon.
That's fair. Ling Mao's got news on it. It says Philander apparently ill yesterday, so maybe can't bowl yet. Nortje now ill explains why they're not taking the new ball.
So is it the lurgy? Have England finally passed on the lurgy? Pretorius short. Oh, whack! Whipped away by Stokes. That was absolutely dismissive. He says, you can't bowl at that pace to me, 77 miles an hour. Away it goes, 4 runs. Wow.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Cricket South Africa have enlightened us. Vernon Philander woke up feeling a lot better than he did yesterday. He's on the field and will continue taking part in this match. Keegan Peterson is fielding for Anrich Nortje, who woke up feeling under the weather and is being treated.
Oh dear.
I'll tell you what, Dominic Sibley is never going to have a better chance of converting an 80-odd to 100 than this.
So basically, they're not going to use the new ball because they don't want to unleash Rabada on his own. Is that what they're saying?
Well, yeah, maybe Vernon Philander has to spend a little bit of time not bowling if he was off the field yesterday. Keegan Peterson, by the way, is Petersen with 2 E's.
But you could give it to Dwayne Pretorius. This is padded away by Sibley as Maharaj. I mean, surely you want to get Rabada on there before England gets
You
set.
could even
this
bowl
morning.
Maharaj with the new ball.
Well, you could. I mean, you may not want to. Maybe that's part of the reasoning. But I mean, surely Pretorius could do a job. In comes Maharaj again. Flatter ball again. He's trying to play it off his legs. Duplessis, I think it is, doing the fielding there.
It
Leg
seems
slip.
almost contrary decision not to be taking the new ball just because you're short of Big Fern. I mean, this is exactly what England wants. Start the day.
You've still got big Cagido. Again padded away. This is all a bit pointless at the moment. And Sibley has yet to add to his overnight score.
Well, he's going to get called soon if he keeps bowling it there because they haven't taken a new ball. They're just trying to kill time out of the game. You can't just keep bowling it there.
Well, I think you can.
No, you can't.
Well, what are the umpires going to say? Flicked away. Sibley's going to get runs here. He's going to get 1. He's going to get 2. He's going to get 3. I think he should get 3 here, as eventually Pretorius comes around. I think it's only 2 in the end.
I think they get a warning and then the bowler can be taken off for deliberately negative bowling. To be fair to Maharaj, he's bowled enough on the stumps to not be in that territory yet. But you can't just bowl 6 down the leg side over the wicket.
Umpires are allowed to call that, but they almost never do.
They almost never do, but they almost never give 5 penalty runs for running down the middle of the pitch. So there may be...
Padded away would probably have hit the stumps, but it's pitching outside leg.
I think what's in Maharaj's favour is the fact that the ball is turning out of those foot marks, and possibly a lot of these would hit the stumps.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's in danger now, but I think if he bowled any more out there, he might start getting umpires twitchy.
That was certainly straight out and is defended by Sibley. That is the end of his 29th over. Maharaj. Sibley's moved on to 87. England 225.
Both Marg and not Fred Titmus only want to say hello to some of us. They don't specify how they're going to subset the set of 3 who are here, but that's the case. And I've lost the screen. Linux Lee says, "Morning everyone. I'm just grateful it's not Kevin Peterson subbing." So we've got Keegan Peterson.
Indeed so.
The original KP is in the commentary box.
Yes. Message says Kelvin Grove is a major sports club based around a manor house originally named Kelvin Grove by John Brodie in 1881 after Kelvinside in his native which city? Very famous constituency.
Workington?
Glasgow. Glasgow Kelvinside.
Pretorius into Stokes, who has, well, lifted this one immaculately over mid-on, in fact over long on, and it's gone all the way for 6. Oh, is this Ben Stokes in one of these moods?
He likes this Cape Town place, doesn't he?
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6.
Oh,
It's beautiful and it's mine.
effortless connection. In again. He's played a ridiculous reverse pull for 4 through the slips. What is going on with Ben Stokes this morning? It's utterly crazy.
1 2 4 4 2 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
235 for 4. He's hit the last 3 balls that he's received for 4-6-4 in the most beautiful and wonderful and innovative fashions that you can imagine.
Well, I think, like me, he doesn't think Pretorius can bowl.
Well, Gary and I were both on comms when he got that double 100, and it was Chris Morris who he took on pretty much every ball on that occasion. He appears to like South African right-arm medium-fast bowlers.
Now, this is going to pose a question to Faf du Plessis. What's he going to do? He's brought... Well, no, he was already up to the stumps, wasn't he? So he hasn't made any change there. Pretorius is in bowls, and this time he just decides to defend square on the offside. The gully moves round to field. So very rapidly, Stokes has gone on to 15 from 11 balls.
I think he's now favourite to reach his century first.
Before Sibley. Well, I'd love to see that. As someone who missed out on that 258, I still feel like I'm owed. So maybe Ben Stokes has woken up this morning and thinks, Hendo didn't get to witness my brilliance. I'll do it for him today. This one is thrown up almost like a spinner by Pretorius into the legs. It's quite full. He can't really get any leverage there, Stokes. So he jabs it out towards mid-wicket.
More apocalyptic news of weather from Messages showing a cyclone on its way into Australia.
That's all they need. Jeez. What
Good.
part of Australia is it going to hit?
Yeah, good luck
initially?
down there to all Australians. We enjoy baiting you, but we're all as one with this.
Pretorius bowls. Lovely timing from Stokes as he steps into that and clips it away, but straight to mid-wicket.
And Tony Bishop is literally entering the eye of the hurricane, as I understand, because he's on his way there or something.
What?
Not now, but soon.
He will be.
Soon. Okay.
Yeah, no, if he's on his way there now, then we've got our wires crossed because he's supposed to be here. But I imagine he's having the same sort of trouble as I had with the traffic this morning, especially through South Wimbledon and Collier's Wood, where there seem to be roadworks every 10 yards. Pretorius in again, slower ball. Stokes waits for it and then steers it past mid-wicket out towards Elgar, running round at long on. He has kept the strike, and England have moved on to 236 for 4.
Yes, Anna Forsyth says, so I didn't imagine KP's voice on the highlights. It sounded like someone doing parodies, which made more sense to me somehow.
Well, he's a bit of a parody of himself to some extent. Not as much of a parody of himself as Bumble, of course, has become.
He can be insightful on commentary, KP. It is a bit of a stream of consciousness, and he has a few points to make, and likes to get them all in one sort of 20-minute segment. But he knows his stuff when it comes to batting, does KP.
Bloody well should do, really. Now we're being shown. Here he is. Nokia has made it on. He's looking a little bit pale, it has to be said. That may just be the sun cream. But maybe we are going to see the new ball before too long. Anyway, Maharaj will continue for the time being, and we do know that Ben Stokes likes to put him over mid-wicket. Will he do it here? No, he'll play a little dab sweep, and he'll certainly pick up one. He may well pick up two. He does. Philander journeys round from deep backward square, and they get back for a couple. Stokes moves to 18, 238 for 4.
Okay, we're on declaration watch. Let's go round. What do we think England will set as a target?
Oh, I think they want 350, don't they, at least? I think they want 350.
I think they're looking at 400.
Well, if Stokes stays out there for any time, but I mean, 350 is a little bit of a way off. To be honest, the lead, that is. He's gone for a big hike this time over mid-wicket. Is there anyone out there? No, it's gone miles back into a crowd of the silly military who are very, very excited to see Ben Stokes in this sort of mood.
I believe in miracles since you came to bat. You sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles since you came out to bat. You sexy thing.
Okay, I'm going to go for 420.
He goes back to this one as it turns into him, and he eases that past Elgar at mid-wicket, who chases. It's very well placed, actually, so they're going to get back for an easy couple. And Rabada was out there, and he said, why are you chasing that all this way? I could have just picked that up, and they'd have still got two.
You see, he was escorting it. I think he was trying to possibly let it run so that Stokes wouldn't be on strike.
Well, he will be, because he got back for the second, and Quinton de Kock.
Yeah.
No, it's not the end of the
No,
over.
it's not.
No, they were
halfway through
They
it.
were trying to bait him to go for the third.
Anyway, 246 for 4. Maharaj none for 92 now into his 30th over.
And I'll confirm that my 420 is not PM, it's lead. I think England will set 420 for South Africa.
420. He's now, what's happened there? He's gone for an enormous slog sweep, and he's got all in a tangle. The ball must have hit something like thigh. Anyway, it dropped over the stumps, so he wasn't in
Top edge into
danger.
head.
I don't know what he did there. Let's have a look at this. It's come out of a... No, it's... Oh, well, it was tricep into grill, actually, as he went down to sweep it. He's in again. He goes, oh, that's turned a long way, and in fact, he exposed his stumps and was quite lucky that it's taken the back pad there. He's just got outside. But there is movement there from those footmarks now. Spin and bounce and lots of puffs of dust.
I wonder if they're a little bit too wide for Dom Bess.
He goes right across and then waits for this and then just dabs it into the offside. And there is no run. Stokes 26 from 20. Sibley 87 from 238. England 246 for 4. The lead is 292. Yeah, I think it is too wide probably. Sibley at the moment.
Both Messi Jazz and Linux Lee are less than impressed with KP. They do give him some acknowledgement that he's good. He really is good on the stuff he knows about, but he can be a little bit of stream of consciousness. I'm more positive about KP on commentary than some of our listeners, but that's fair enough.
I know I'm quite good on things I know about, but I'm terrible on particle physics.
Oh, we do have the new ball.
Aha! Now this may put an end to Ben Stokes' fun, or the ball might just come off the bat even quicker. Vernon Philander, recovered from his illness, is going to take the new cherry.
And we can debut a new Vernon Philander jingle.
You first get the fear when he strides the pitch. And that look right there tells you he's got the itch. The best you could hope for is to nick over slips off Big Bird. They call him the surgeon, the bowling machine. Surgically tear out your stumps real clean. He'll make you feel like you let down the team. That's Big Bird.
When I got
Excellent
in last night at 11:30, my elder boy was literally doing particle physics.
Oh, was he? Right, there you go. Well, he knows about particle physics. We'll get him on if we need particle physics. Defended the first ball. Sibley's just quietly standing at the other end from Ben Stokes as Ben Stokes goes about a little bit of carnage. And we've lost the picture. It's back.
Stokes is going at 7.8 and over. Dom Sibley is going at under 3 and over. About 2 and over, in fact.
Yes, I'm wondering. I mean, maybe he won't even. Maybe he'll be 98 not out, like Graham Hick was at Sydney in 95. Philander in to Sibley. Sibley leaves outside the off stump. and through to De Kock it goes.
Yeah, but it was just so splendid that yesterday he raised concurrent 50s. He raised his 50 runs at the same time as he occupied the crease for 50 overs, and have England needed that at the top of the order.
Sibley and Burns as an opening partnership kind of sets England up quite well, I think, with the stroke players they have in the middle order.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I've been quite impressed with what I've seen of Crawley, to be honest, and he's still very young, outside the off stump and left alone. Maybe out of this sort of chaos that we've had at the top of the order, suddenly some order will be restored. If Sibley gets himself fit, Burns gets himself fit.
Burns, it now seems, will miss the Sri Lanka tour.
Yes, there is that.
And it sounds like Keaton Jennings is going to be called in as a as a spin specialist.
I don't care. No, that's pointless. It has no. You look into the future, aren't you? So get Crawley in there, get Sibley in there, and open with them. Give them a chance, and get Ben Folkes in the team. Do not go back to Keaton Jennings, or I will. I don't know. I'll come out with some even worse owl jokes. Onto the front foot comes Sibley, defends into the covers.
One of the things that's interesting, and I know we spoke about this in the car on the way here, Hendo, is that where England are finding test players now is where they've always found them, through good performances in county cricket. You've got Sibley, Burns coming through, Pope looks the part, Sam Curran. These are players who didn't come through the crash bang wallop of the ODI squad, but have come through grinding out hard runs in April and in September on the county circuit.
Well, the county games has got them into the Lions tour, and then on the back of that, so that kind of progression that England want is starting to work.
Philander bowls Sibley, defends up the onside of the pitch. And another reason not to go to Keaton Jennings is the fact that next winter England go to India. And do not take Keaton Jennings on a 4 or 5 test tour of India, please.
Not with this Indian attack.
No, and really, if you want to give people experience of the subcontinent, then you go for Sibley and you go for Crawley.
I'll just add to that. That's interestingly, Australia appear to be using county cricket as a finishing ground for their test players as well, with Marnus Labuschagne, top scorer in 2019. Playing county cricket for Glamorgan.
Indeed, this one swings from Philander, starts too wide, goes wider, and is left alone. Yes, it's extraordinary, isn't it, that everyone seems to regard county cricket with some respect, apart from the ECB. Strange, that.
Oh, quite a few pundits as well.
Well, maybe some of them, but that's because most of them never go. But you don't get much county cricket reporting in the papers these days, I'm afraid to say.
No, you don't.
We have a few GPL entries. Hombre Nuevo has got in there early. Remember, you can enter the GPL. You have until lunchtime to do so. That's 10:30 a.m. UK time.
Whee!
We've got a particle physics joke from Mog saying, if he's doing particle physics, Gary, you'd want to make sure his eyes are glue on the books.
Boom, boom.
Yes. Anna Forsyth says, is there a universal rule that spin bowlers have to do the collar up like a prick thing? And Sean T says, so climbing up a mountain today in an attempt to be the highest ever GC listener. Well, apart from the bear.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, Nestlers. I thought you were back today, Nestlers.
No, it's not Nestlers, it's Sean T.
That is Sean T. That is Nestlers.
Is that him?
Yes, of course it is.
Oh.
Onto the back foot goes Stokes and forces to long on for a single.
The handle is at Shoebill Looks.
That's the one.
Is
That's
that
the
him?
one. That's him now, yeah.
Sean, you've been hiding from me.
Maharaj is bowling with the new ball.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he is.
Oh, hang on, so what's wrong with Rabada? This seems extraordinary, really. Well, we'll have to wait for the press conference to know what the heck Faf du Plessis was playing at. Anyway, England have moved to 247 for 4. Stokes has moved to 27.
South Africa are one step away from Zola budding not Fred into their citizenship and having him bowling at the top end.
Well, we did sort of muse on the fact that we might see not Fred at the front of the silly military, stripped to the waist, allowing it all to hang out. But so far we haven't. It's very disappointing. Anyway, here comes Maharaj now to Sibley. He's got a man at silly mid-off and a slip, and Sibley lets this one go. It goes on, as they say, with the arm.
He's got a Sibley mid-off.
Hey, I like the idea of the ball going on with the arm, because, I mean, a ball has to be propelled by an arm. What if it's not going on with the arm at all, and he's bowling it from somewhere else? This is defended back to him by Sibley, and there is no run.
And if you want it to really turn, could you point your arm very sharply left?
That's an idea, isn't it?
The alternative to it going on with the arm is having it on a piece of string.
Oh, yeah, there is that, isn't there? He's in again. Sibley goes back and is beaten by that as he tries to force. And Maharaj stands there and hands are clasped.
Beaten on the inside edge.
He was beaten by one that went on with the arm, even if it was spinning.
No, was he? No, he wasn't outside edge.
Oh, maybe.
No, it didn't go on with the arm, but didn't really turn.
I think he was beaten slightly for pace, to be honest.
Back comes Maharaj, bowls to Sibley, props forward. Sibley's just added the 2 this morning. He's got on to 87. He doesn't want to get too bogged down, does he? As then it will prey on his mind, this 100 thing.
If he's 87 and Stokes is 87 in an hour's time, then everybody's happy.
And he plays a rather agricultural shot by his standards, trying to force into the onside, gets it down to mid-on, and there is no run.
I mean, he is slightly heavy-footed. He's not the most elegant of players, and I think that leads him to looking like a slow starter, which might actually be the same as being a slow starter. And he doesn't look like someone who's going to come in and start timing the ball through the covers from the get-go. Gower's pull shot in his first ball in Test cricket. So maybe he just needs half an hour, 45 minutes, just to feel the feet moving. Towards the end of his career, Gooch was a bit like this, if you recall.
Well, Sibley's constructed his entire game in county cricket around that fact, and he's made a virtue of it, in fact.
Well, piece from Simon Wilde that I edited last night, which was about Sibley and how he performed for the under-19s in South Africa in about 2013. And I think he batted for 7 hours at Pal. Two test series. Oh, that's a horrible slog. Smeared by Ben Stokes, who raced down the wicket and then tried to hit the bejesus out of it. He got it as far as deep square leg and smiles when he gets to the other end. Philander saying, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
I'm a genius, don't you know? Do you wonder if de Kock will come up to the stumps for Philander, even with the new ball, with Stokes in such aggressive mood?
Yes, that was really, really unpleasant to watch.
We should have a change at the end of the over.
Okay, have we got has anyone else arrived yet?
I don't know.
I haven't heard any doorbells go. 294 is the lead. Philander's got 2 slips in the gully, and Sibley now is looking for a run. He's going to get one. He is. Robbie's here. All is well. Sibley moves to 88 as the ball is played between extra and mid-off.
We've got a bishop doing bodily semaphore.
The bishop is here. Is he all owled out, I wonder? That was another... I did suggest that he might want to fork on his sword last night after all those puns.
Speaking of puns, Mogg says, yes, Gary, that was a very quarky joke indeed. Quite a spin on it. It bows on and on and on.
You are strange, but you do have charm.
Oh, very good. I think we can call an end to those puns because they're beginning to bore me.
Very good. Kind of.
He should have been around for 4 hours last night. Oh, now that's a swinging full toss, which again is smeared by Ben Stokes, who just got his bat on it. And I think he's gone for 4 at deep square leg, despite the attentions of a fielder.
Dean Elgar's a little bit further round at mid-wicket and ended up diving over the top of the ball. That's an extraordinary shot from Stokes.
It was very low on his bat. In fact, it looked low on the bat, but he seems to have timed it well enough.
He's basically played a sweep to a low full toss.
Yeah, that's a hell of a bat.
Anna Forsyth has a question for us. She says, I'm not saying Sibley is scoring slowly, but I did just look up the slowest test centuries. Did you know Atherton has 3 in the top 30?
Madussin Azar's top of that list, isn't he? Driven as ball is thrown out wide into the outside the off stump. There's Rabada, and he's thinking, why am I fielding instead of bowling? He throws it in from the boundary edge, and they get back for 2. Stokes has now moved on to 34.
Stokes has been out there for half an hour. They've already tried to stop trying to get him out.
I think
the lead is 301.
553 minutes from memory of Madassin. But she says, any guesses for the player in this game who also appears in the list?
Dean Elgar?
Ooh, no, I don't think it is. I think I know who it is.
Faf?
Yeah, yes.
Adelaide?
I think he made a very, very slow 100 in saving a game.
Yes, Adelaide. It was his debut, I think.
I think AB was at the other end.
30 off 200 balls or something for AB.
Short one, and chopped this time by Stokes. Backward a square on the offside, and that has sped away to the boundary. He's really messing with Philander, who's now bowling all sorts of tripe, and he's picked up 4 more.
1, 2,
partnership worth 41, of which Dominic Sibley has contributed 3.
Hey.
It's hard to imagine South Africa could have played a worse half hour than this, to be honest.
It
I mean,
is-
they may be circumscribed in who they can call upon to bowl, but they really have played.
Well, they've neither tried to take wickets, nor have they succeeded in any way in slowing England down.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, I know Stokes is on a mission, but they really have bowled terrible stuff.
Oh, and he comes down the wicket again. It's bowled wide of the off stump. He gets a toe end to it, stopped by de Kock. That is the end of the over. It's the end of my spell. It's 259 for 4. Sibley 88. Stokes has 38.
Yeah, you will hear from Tony Bishop, Rob Sutton, and the Bear, but first Rihanna.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there's literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Rob.
Yes.
Morning, Rob.
We've got Tony here, we've got the Bear, and I will be taking you through the next half hour, of which it could be very fun indeed, watching Ben Stokes at the moment. It's the Stokes show at Newlands again.
So what I want to know most of all is, how does Gary know that South Africa have all been circumscribed?
Well, this is true. I take issue with what was being said just then.
Sibley comes forward as Maharaj continues.
Whilst they may be circumscribed as to who they can bowl, I do think Stokes is just taking the attack to them, isn't he? They're not trying to stop England from scoring.
Maharaj bowls. Sibley goes back and across, just plays this one forward. The way Sibley's going, Stokes could actually beat him to 100.
I was thinking that when we were out there.
Yes, Sibley certainly knuckling down to ensure he gets these 12 runs.
And it's fine while Stokes is going on at the
Absolutely.
rate the other end, isn't it?
That's shorter from Maharaj. It's cut away by Sibley, fielded by Rabada, who, as the guys before us were saying, who we have not seen this morning so far.
Does Sibley play? I mean, I don't watch. Everyone knows I don't really take much notice of county cricket. Does Sibley play in the shorter forms? In
A bit, not hugely.
Yeah.
is he any good at T20?
Well, he often opens for Warwickshire with Ed Pollock, who is a very exciting young batsman. So he's often the one who will bat through a T20 innings. He can score at a decent strike rate, though, and he goes back and across his stumps this time. It's a nice shot through the leg side. It's running away towards the boundary. It won't get there, but Sibley will move into the 90s. The fielding was done by Hamza, and they took 261 for 4, 90 not out.
We are joined by many folks on Crit Tracker, so at the end of the over I will say hi to a few, if that's all right.
Yep.
I won't try it during Maharaj's over because he whips through them at a fair old lick, doesn't he?
He's good for the over rate, of which South Africa were pretty slow yesterday. There's a change in the field. There's a man coming into the leg side to stop the shot that Sibley just played, that little flick of his pants. I think that's Philander going in there, sure.
So who do we reckon is ill in the South African side?
Well, Philander was one of them, wasn't he? Andrik Nokia as well, I believe.
And again, Sibley just padding up to this one as Maharaj returns to over the wicket and continues with the leg stump line.
Is it the same thing that the England team suffer from?
I don't know that we know that yet. You wonder though, don't you? Because I mean, presumably, I suppose they're in comparatively close proximity. It's not entirely surprising.
Maharaj bowls. Sibley turns this away. Got himself in a little bit of trouble there, but he has turned it away. And there's no run. 2 off that over. 261 for 4. And the lead is over 300 now, by the way.
Yeah.
It is. Right, so Ankit Sagia is here with us. Samuit SK, Chris Kelvin, Matthew Body says lead 277, so that was a little while ago. England will win this test. They are in good shape, no doubt about it. Rajveer Rathore says, wow. Aaron Yadav says, nice job. He doesn't say whether it's us or England, but we'll take it. MD Ajkor Munshi says, hi. Aaron Yadav says Brisbane Heat are going to win today, so he's obviously got his eye upon the BBL. Linjay Good says hi, and Hattie Atkinson says, this is a different game, or am I in an alternative reality today? Well, hopefully or not, Hattie, but welcome anyway, and stay with us, enjoy it.
Some say listening to us is an alternative reality.
Well, I don't think you're far wrong.
And we've got a change of bowling, and Rabada is going to come into the attack.
Stunning. One of the best jingles we've got. And where is he? There he is.
What's his name? He's a high roller.
First ball is short. Stokes plays it away into the leg side, and there's no run.
Spanish Armada. No one faster, no one harder. What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
Anna Forsyth says, I'm not saying Sibley is scoring slowly, but I did just look up the slowest Test centuries. Did you know Atherton has 3 in the top 30? Yeah, we were discussing that. I think any guesses for the player in the game who also appears in the list?
You haven't been listening to the show, have you?
Oh, this has gone high in the air from Stokes. Fine leg is running in. Oh, the keeper's dropped it. The Cock ran a mile there and sort of came across the fine leg fielder, and he's put the catch down. He should have really left that for the fine leg fielder.
He should have done.
Pimps in the crib, man. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
It was a short ball from Rabada. Stokes hit it just straight up in the air. Went flying off down to fine leg. The camera work was appalling, so I didn't really see where it went. Comes off the bottom of his bat. De Kock runs an absolute mile. There is some miscommunication there. De Kock decides it's his catch, and then it goes right through his gloves.
There was a crucial moment when he stopped, when he wasn't sure.
And now Rabada bowls a full toss, which Stokes bunts to the deep mid-wicket boundary for 4.
Take that.
2 + 2 is on man.
Well, in that previous one, that was ridiculous. I mean, the guy, as you say, the guy was coming in from fine leg, stopped, and it was still in the air for about 3 or 4 seconds. He clearly had time to get under the ball and probably take what would have been a relatively simple catch. He's coming at the ball rather than bloody Quinton de Kock, who's running miles from behind the stumps to take it running away from him. Man, that's ridiculous. Whoever's down there should have called Quinton. Sod off, that's mine.
Another short one from Rabada, and Stokes plays this one along the ground to the fine leg fielder. And that single will bring up the 50 partnership between Stokes and Sibley from 64 balls.
How many of those are Ben Stokes?
I think it's 45.
45 out of 50. I don't care. If Sibley's still there, if he carries his bat,
well, exactly.
I really won't mind. If
that wouldn't be a bad thing to do, wouldn't it? There aren't that many people who've carried their bats. Mind you, if you carry your bat, it can't be a declaration that all 10 wickets have to fall.
Yeah, I don't think it counts if England declare. And if Stokes carries on like this, I think we will be talking about declarations later in the day. Sibley now on strike, and this one is slightly in the air, but it's gone through the offside. Elgar is giving chase. He's got it. He's hauled it in. Just slowed up a bit there, the ball. Sibley's run 3, so he goes to 93, and it's been a bit of an all over the place first over of the morning for Rabada so far. 10 from it, actually.
So were we discussing, is there someone in this game who's got...
Yeah, Faf du Plessis.
Yeah, I think
Faf.
du Plessis.
Okay. Do you know what? I was almost going to say Ben Stokes. I know that's extraordinary in this context, but he has been starting slow of late and accelerating. Obviously,
yeah, but not that slow.
That's not his mode today.
well, none more so than that innings.
That innings,
last summer.
Absolutely. No, precisely. That's what made me wonder if he got to the 100 quite slowly and then accelerated.
They are looking at this piece of fielding from Dean Elgar on the cover boundary.
I think his knee is touching there.
Yeah, I think you're right,
I think
Bear.
that's 4.
I think Sibley is going to get 1 extra run here and go to 94. And might well be the end of the over as well, which means Stokes will be on strike at the other end, which is almost ideal for England at the moment. It's a valiant effort from Elgar.
It's difficult to tell because both camera angles are a bit tricky.
Yeah, you could do the camera angle
but I
from
think
behind.
his finger's still on the ball there, and he's clearly in the sponge at that point.
And 4 is signalled by Kumar Dharmasena.
Yay, well done. Let's give him a little jingle.
It's me, Sanshi. It's me, Sanshi.
So this over has gone for 11. and there's been a drop catch. Something always seems to happen when Rabada's got the ball, whether that's
good or bad.
positive for South Africa or not.
Or an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation,
Exactly.
which he specialises in as well, doesn't he?
Now, I'm not sure about giving Zach Crawley a send-off, but there we go. Here's Rabada, bowls to Sibley, who just defends the last ball of the over. He is on 94, 6 away from a maiden Test century.
Mog says appropriately Fermi declaration by Gary there, so we need to catch up. Jessica 2015-4 hockey/cricket time says, I guess you could say Quark jokes are strange. Grits and Grat says, if Sibley gets to 100, will it be his first pro ton?
Not his first pro ton,
Well,
his first
no,
Test ton.
definitely not. Definitely his first test ton.
If it
yes.
was his first pro ton, I doubt he'd be in the bloody test squad, would he?
No.
We are
no,
quite
no.
short voting,
But yes, he hasn't scored a test.
We are,
ton.
yes, this is true.
And apparently that was a physics joke, by the way.
Yeah, they've
I
been
thought
banging on.
perhaps it was. I was thinking Protea.
Oh,
Maybe it was
no,
a play
no,
on
no.
No, proton, very good.
Proton. Yes, of course. I've got it. Well, there we go.
It's great to see at GCSE physics. Most of it goes all over my head, I'm afraid.
Tim Everingham says, bittersweetly, the rain is just drivel and probably not enough to make an impact on drought or have any play. So we're looking at
Australia.
That's the
I
Big
presume.
Bash
Australia
game.
there, Big
Yeah.
Bash game, yeah. However, it's water from the sky nonetheless. And yeah, indeed it is. Anna Forsyth says, no Dom, slow back down. You're 55 balls away from entering the 30 slowest centuries list.
New over from Maharaj, and a bit of turn there. Stokes turns it away into the leg side. There's certainly going to be one here, and one is all it'll be. Stokes to 46 from 31 balls. 258 balls Sibley has faced currently.
Jessica, I'm not going to say the whole thing, 23-15-4, is hoping for a heat win, so she's obviously a Brisbane fan. We need a couple more of those. Beijing Ducks says, just started a 5-hour train journey across the UK to get home. What puns are we doing today? Need something to keep me busy. Owls were so yesterday.
It's physics.
Yeah, it seems to be physics
Particle
today.
physics, isn't it, this morning?
Yeah, particle physics we seem to be into, so good luck with that one.
Just a bit of a change of the field
Meantime,
for the right-handed Sibley.
Who's coming on to bowl now?
As Maharaj bowls, Sibley pants this away, and again there's no run. I kind of feel South Africa are almost settling for a declaration here already. It's felt like that for most of the morning.
Yeah, bad way to go, really.
Maharaj bowls on the leg side. Sibley turns this away. There's one to go to 95. Philander does the fielding. He's gone down to fine leg, so I wonder if Rabada's only going to get the one over here.
Or maybe
I wonder if he's one of the ones that's suffering. I mean, that was a very loose over.
maybe Philander's going to change ends and take over from Maharaj.
Possibly.
Aidan says, this is exactly when Butler's going to come in and get a quick 50 and frustrate all the Folks fans for another series.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is true.
Could be right there. Reverse sweep from Stokes, and it's Philander who does the fielding. Bit of a fumble, but it will. Well, they probably would have got two anyway. And Stokes goes to 48 from 32. No wickets for Maharaj in this second innings so far.
Nearly ton up in one ball, one run.
Yes. I do quite like Maharaj as a spinner, but he
not too bad.
does go through quiet spells in quite a few Test matches.
Well, not ideal conditions for him out there, is it?
There
Let's
is
be honest.
Maharaj's ton as Stokes gets a single into the leg side, and that takes Stokes to 49.
You know what? He still could get a ton before Sibley gets to a ton.
It's not, especially as the way Stokes often accelerates between 50 and 100.
Well, if he accelerates between 50 and 100, it's about 16, 17 balls for another 50 runs.
If he does it all in boundaries, he could.
Is it my imagination, or is he just looking a tad nervy? I would imagine he would be.
I can't blame him.
You want some loopy full toss that he can slam for four, and then he just has to scramble a single.
And this is the last ball of the over, and Sibley pads this away from Maharaj. That's the end of the over. 27744.
Darren Macy says, morning Gorilla Cricket. Once again, my constant companion at work. The Rabada jingle is my new favourite.
Yeah, it's a great jingle.
Lennox Leah says, let's see how long I can resist the lure of Ziggurat sitting in my Xbox this morning. Chris the Choir says, at this rate, Stokes will pass 150 before Sibley reaches 100. Imagine has sent us a picture, so I need to have a look at oh Lord, I need to read it carefully as well. I spotted this on Twitter. Someone has been creative at the Kmart in Australia. It's
Fuck Scott Morrison made out of...
No, it's along those lines, and you can imagine what the last 4 letters are. It's a load of water bottles with letters on that have clearly been arranged in a particularly smart way.
He is one of the most net heads of state I've ever seen, Scott Morrison.
Scotty from marketing, yes. Durban Oak says, morning all, the Bear must be pleased with last night's football. Yes, he was discussing that this morning.
The kids beat Everton.
You over from Rabada, and Ben Stokes goes to another half century with a pull shot down to fine leg. 1 run taken, and that's a 34 ball half century.
Don't get them that often, do you? Not in test matches anyway.
50 runs, you're 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, you're 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
Well, we just saw the most runs chased here, didn't we? And there's only one score over 300, and I can't remember what it was, but it was about 320. And that was chased by Australia in 2011.
Rabada to Sibley. Sibley comes forward to this next delivery. Yeah, it's often a ground that is difficult to chase at.
The other scores that were chased were in the 200s, but they were 2 or 3 wickets down, most of them, which suggests that they could have got a lot more. But Tony was saying if England go really badly, we'd be all out before lunch. We're all out now before lunch. If Stokes carries on like this, we might be declaring before lunch with a 450 lead. I mean,
highest successful run rate is 10 more than it would need now, so 334.
Okay.
And that was by Australia in 2002.
Special team then as Sibley comes forward to the next delivery from Rabada. 34 balls must be one of Stokes' quickest test 50s. I haven't got the stats to hand at the moment, but it's been one of those innings where he's teed off from virtually ball 1 this morning.
Yep.
And South Africa just have not been able to contain him, much like his last visit to this particular venue when he got that remarkable 250 something, I think it was.
254, wasn't it?
Rabada bowls. Sibley always a bit squared up by that one. There was almost a leading edge. In the end, it trickles along the ground to the mid-off fielder.
He was trying to find his favourite shot working through the leg side there, wasn't he?
He's very much a leg side player, and you can tell that he has had the influence of playing with Jonathan Trott at Warwickshire. Because there's a few in that Warwickshire team in the red ball who play like Trott. I mean, Sam Hain is virtually a carbon copy of what Jonathan Trott used to be.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. And Sibley is a very strong leg side player as well. Rabada bowls outside the off stump. Sibley lets this one go.
I've had another look at that picture, and it is indeed about Scott Morrison.
What does it say?
Well, you can imagine.
I quite like to have a look at it.
I can show it to you.
Is it on our Twitter feed?
Yes, it is. It's from Imagine. Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast says, most absurd gully stroke street cricket rule. Let's hear from you, please. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Most absurd street cricket rule.
I don't know if I know street cricket rules.
Sort of backyard cricket? I can give you a few odd rules for that. Oh, Sibley edges, but it's gone through the slip cordon, and he's going to get 4 for it.
Good man.
It's a streaky one, but it takes Sibley to 99.
They all count.
That was a much better over from Rabada, and forced the edge of Sibley, but it went through the vacant sort of 4th slip region to the boundary for 4. And he is now 1 away. Although he might not see much of the strike in this over, because I can see Stokes going after Maharaj here.
Or would Ben Stokes nick a single and give him a chance to get to that maiden ton? Or will Stokes just carry on?
I think he just
carry on the offensive. Linux Lear says, and now I want footage of the Bear using the shot rule, which I think is part of that discussion around street cricket rules.
And Stokes is going to get a single. Well, actually, it might be more than a single, because it split the fielders. Philander rather lumbered to get that one. And it was actually Rabada who did the fielding, and
They
they
both
got back for 2. They certainly weren't moving
They
particularly
both
well
look
there.
pretty heavy-footed, didn't they? Lord.
It was like, over to you. No, over to you.
I really don't want to be fielding this ball, and it nearly split the two of them. So the lead now 330, and that record score was 334 for highest successful chase at Newlands. Stokes down the pitch to the next one from Maharaj. Stokes wants a single, and he's going to get one. All rather casual, that, from both sides. The fielding is done by Van der Dussen. So here we go.
Says nice on Cricket Tracker, so welcome to you.
And just seeing a replay of that edge in the last over, and couldn't have picked the gap better if Sibley tried with that edge. But as we were saying, they all count.
Ah, yes, I quite like that.
What, the Scotty Morrison thing?
Yeah.
I've got an very interesting question from Ling Mao at the end of the over.
South Africa are just altering the field, making Sibley wait. Philander is coming up into what would be the circle if this was a one-day match. They've got a leg slip, man in close. The single is being offside, might be his best option here if he gets a loose one from Maharaj. But I suspect it's going to be leg theory again. And indeed it is, and Sibley just pants this one away and there's no run.
What is the highest score in the Test series so far? Sibley's 99.
Indeed, we were saying this earlier. It was that counter-attacking knock from Quinton de Kock in the first Test that really kept South Africa in it on that first day. As Maharaj bowls, Sibley thinks about playing that in the end, pads it away, and leg slip does the fielding. I think that's the captain in there, leg slip, Duplessis.
Now, what sort of celebration are we going to get from Sibley? Is he a contained man, or is he going to go absolutely mental?
Well, should we worry about that as and when and if?
Maharaj bowls. Sibley sweeps. There it is!
Well done!
And it goes to the boundary for 4, and Dom Sibley has his maiden Test match 100.
It's one of these, and one of these.
10, 20,
We'll give him
40, 60, 80. 100. Congratulations, sir. You are a centurion.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled for the lad. It's a terrific innings, perfectly sensible in the circumstances. He's played his own game, and he's enjoyed the moment. The helmet came off. There was a kiss of the 3 lions. 269 balls and 16 fours. And the Warwickshire man, formerly of Surrey, has his maiden Test century. And there were some doubts after the New Zealand series, but he certainly answered them in this one as he pads the next delivery from Maharaj away. And that's the end of the over at 289 for 4. And there's a big sigh of relief from Dom Sibley at the end of that over.
There is indeed.
And oddly, you could say this is a much harder place to get a bloody Test ton, couldn't you?
Yeah.
New Zealand, you'd have thought, but hey.
Well, yeah. Ling Mao's question, by the way, was, or it wasn't a question, it was a fact. This was when Sibley was on 99. But he said, for all this talk of Sibley being a leg side player, he scored 52 of his 99 runs on the offside.
Yeah.
There
He
you
does
go.
have a nice cover
There
drive.
you go.
He does
Yeah, he
drive
does,
it quite
yeah.
nicely square if it's up there.
Got a reasonable cut shot as well. I wonder if that is a member of the Sibley family there. Just been featured on the screen, waving a Panama hat in the crowd.
Now, Forsyth says, I've only just realised that Sibley's helmet says the make Fray on the side, not his own name. I presumed it was an effort by his parents to stop him losing his kit.
First ball of the next over was bunted down the ground by Stokes for 1. Nortke is back on. He did the fielding, so he was one of the ones who was potentially down with the lurgy. And Sibley will be back on strike.
Don't keep it to yourself. Though.
Sorry,
Something has amused the bishop here.
It's a revisit of
We'll be back to the
last
Owls.
night's owlery.
Rabada bowls, and Sibley, that jumped a bit off him, and Sibley withdrew the bat just in the nick of time, and that rather flew through to de Kock. No run.
First of all, Jessica 23-15-4 says, as one of my friends says, an awkward 4 is still 4 runs. Yes, indeed it is. And what made me chuckle was a beautiful picture of what looks like a snowy owl from Arthur Patricia. Absolutely delighted for Sibley. Not only that he's made 100, but that he's made slow, dogged 100, which is exactly what England needed. Superb.
And that one, again, there was a bit of bounce there from Rabada, and it's played away into the offside by Sibley, and there's no run.
And it is a beautiful picture of an owl, I must say.
They're quite beautiful creatures.
Oh, they are.
Certainly a snowy owl.
Darren Macy says the best thing about Sibley's ton is that finally an England player has finished a day on 80 odd and then managed to come back the next morning and not get himself out within 5 balls.
Yeah, this is very true. Seems to have stumbled upon a couple of openers in the last year, which is
Rabada bowls turned away off his legs by Sibley. It goes through the square leg region, and it will be fielded by Pretorius on the fence, and there's 1 run. I always remember with players not out overnight, Andrew Strauss always used to have the problem. If he was 100 or more not out overnight, he would always be out.
Yes.
I remember seeing him at Lords, I think it was against Australia, and he'd made like a brilliant 160, and then I turned up on the second day, he was out second ball.
Yeah, he used to do that all the time.
Although there was some quite good stuff going around Twitter during the first test when England were collapsing in a heap. People saying the good old days when the biggest problem for England was that Ian Bell only got a century when somebody else did. As Stokes hits this one baseball style down the ground, Rabada nearly gets a hand on it. It's fielded by the man almost at long off there, and it's 1 run to Stokes, who goes to 55.
I wonder if will Sibley try to be a little bit more expensive. I mean, I don't expect him to play anything like Stokes, but having got his ton, will he try and play a few more shots?
Mark Cranfield Adams says, great knock Dom Sibley for England, 103 not out. Been a fan since I saw. I'll wait until the end of this ball.
And it's Rabada to Sibley, lets this one go outside the off stump, and there is no run.
Been a fan since I
for 4.
saw him score a double 100 for Surrey versus Yorkshire as an 18-year-old schoolboy at the Oval. He's also copied in Sky Cricket at BBC TMS, ourselves, and of course South Africa versus England.
I think that was the last game of the season, that one from Sibley. The players are taking a drink, so I assume a change will be coming soon enough from us, and I can hear Gary. So
he's coming in to replace me.
All right, Tony is going to take over from me, and me and the Bear will be back on later.
Well, I'll play a little tune. We've had Rihanna, so I'll play something else.
We need your alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Well, yes indeed, well played Dom Sibley. I particularly like the comment that an England player has been on 80-something overnight and come back and made a ton. We seem to be missing anyone to read tweets. To my right, Gary the Hat McNaylor is just getting himself organised. Hello, Gary.
Yes, delighted for Dom Sibley. It's been a long 6-year journey from his start in first-class cricket with a bang, making that double 100 at just over the age of 18 for Surrey. He's had his ups and downs in that time. Young players do, but vindication today in what looks like it might be certainly sets up a winning position for England. Of course, it'll be all the more important if it turns into a win, but Sibley cannot have done any more than he has done, delivering the brief perfectly.
He certainly has, and settling into the tweets and YouTube and Crick Tracker and many other platforms seat Knuckle M. Pandy.
Yeah, indeed, and some love for Dom Sibley from Armchair Cricket Podcast. Take a bow, Dom Sibley, a much-needed old-school openers 100 to set up the game for England. Durbanoki says the wicket seems to have flattened out somewhat, but I think that's just a factor of, or rather, a consequence of the fact that Sibley has been out there for so long, and England have sort of worn South African down a little bit. It will look very different when South Africa's openers come out and face a fresh Anderson and Broad. Mog says, "Oh, aren't you all in love with Mr. Sibley now, you fair weather bastards?" And Not Fred Titmus says, "Does Gary think the West Indies can win this?"
Thank you very much. Not Fred, hello to you. I think you're out there, probably at the ground.
Well, he sent us a picture to our internal sort of group chat.
Yeah, there's a bloke who writes a county cricket column at the Guardian online who's been punting Sibley for England for some time now.
Well, a few people have, Gary. I mean, I recall when we did our review of the season, which you were part of, we spent a lot of time talking about Sibley and his ability to occupy the crease and build long patience innings.
We did too on the.
So this is what we need for England. We said.
I spent some good time talking with Ian O'Brien about him on the New Zealand tour podcast that I
was there.
So we spent a long time talking about him and the qualities that he has in the game that he's built for himself. And the way that he's, as I said when I was on last, made a virtue of the fact that he is slightly limited as a player, in a kind of similar manner to how Andrew Strauss built his game around the fact that he played 3 shots and played them really well.
Maharaj is going to be continuing. He skips in. And Stokes was looking to pull him or sweep him over mid-wicket and didn't lay a bat on it. It was through him and bounced off the pads, in fact, of Quinton de Kock in the end.
Yeah,
if he'd have connected with that, goodness me.
Alistair Cook really only had 3 shots. I mean, one might say Chris Gale only had 3 shots as well.
Maharajan again, that one short, pulled, and it beats the coming together of long leg and backward square leg as they look to converge on it. But I mean, the ball just had way too much power. Stokes goes rocketing along to 59. He has been in.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
He has been in the most combative and belligerent mood this morning. Maharaj is in. Down the track comes Stokes. He's lofted this, and he's lofted it all the way back over the bowler's head, 4 or 5 rows back into the crowd. He is simply not messing about.
6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6. Let's talk about 6.
That was right in his arc, though, Gary, wasn't it? As Stokes
it is.
skipped down.
On the one hand, Maharaj appears to be bowling, some real pies here.
And he comes again. This one's swept away. That's going to be 4 more.
Reverse hoik.
And successfully done.
But you can't really bowl to a man in this mood. But where I would suggest that there's some culpability on the part of Maharaj, and certainly on the part of Faf du Plessis, is that he's bowled him into this form by having a new ball available after 1 over of the day's play, not taking it, letting Stokes get a start, and now reaping the well.
It's not Maharaj's fault. You can't say I'm not bowling when the captain tells you to bowl.
Maharaj in again. This one is a full toss, and Stokes this time was looking to come down the track again, but I think Maharaj wised up to him a little bit. But just tossed it up a little bit fuller, and he was only able to get himself a single push to mid-on.
What's Maharaj's plan been today? I mean, he started off bowling sort of left arm over into the pads and into the rough, trying largely to dry up the scoring rate. Well, that didn't work. I mean, now he just seems to be bowling and just hoping that it doesn't go for 4.
I feel sorry for Maharaj. He's on a hiding to nothing here. I think Faf has put him in a really difficult position.
I think he has to a certain extent. I mean, it never looks good as a bowler if your figures are 0 for 122.
This happened to him in India too, where the fast bowlers were really ineffective, and Maharaj just had to bowl and bowl and bowl and bowl against batters who were progressively more
they've
set.
Switched ends on him a couple of times as well, haven't they? He's in again, and Sibley, as he has done many times before in his innings so far of 104, he just gets a big front pad forward and uses it as his first line of defence.
Yeah, I mean, he bowled 22 overs in a row yesterday from the Kelvin Grove end, and he's here he's from that end as well. But they have tried a few things yesterday. Actually, Daniel Gallen, I mentioned this a couple of times, a friend of the show, wrote a piece yesterday saying that Faf didn't know what he was doing with Maharaj yesterday. On Twitter, Beijing Duck says, "Your Sibley the best possible jingle?" Fantasy Emporium says it's already beyond South Africa. Arthur Patricia says, "Some of us have been banging the Sibley drum from the start. He might have started stronger if not for the distraction of constant drumming."
Very good.
Durban Oak says, "Isn't Newland where Stokes scored his double 100? It was. Will he get another? Probably not."
Well, it's going to be a Rabada. And Stokes was basically looking to tee off there and drive that 350 yards down the first tee.
Yeah,
but he didn't lay a bat on it.
That would have gone not so much over the Lord's Pavilion as over Table Mountain, I think, if he connected with that.
He really did attempt to give that the kitchen sink, but Rabada was just a tad too canny for him on that occasion, and perhaps just a little bit of movement away from the swinging bat of a now ravenously hungry Ben Stokes. And he cuts this away through cover, but there's a man at deep extra cover. It's Maharaj, poor lad. You know, he's gone out to graze on the extra cover boundary in the hope of a little bit of peace and quiet, and he's back in the game straight away.
But that was like that field that they banned in one-day cricket. I think everybody was on the boundary with the exception of Slip.
I think on video games it's called scatter. It's Brian Lara Cricket Scatter 6 or something.
Oh, is it? Is when you just push the whole field back?
Yeah. He's essentially Fafa's essentially surrendered.
Yes.
In comes Rabada, forward comes Sibley, just drops the bat on this away through point, and they will jog a pretty comfortable single.
Now, the criticism of Sibley is that he doesn't have that shot available to him. Now, admittedly, the field is scattered a little bit, but it shows that he can come forward. Admittedly, he was playing slightly with half a bat there, but when you've got 100 and odd, that's fair enough. But he pushed it into a gap on the offside and rotated the strike.
It's that get-out shot off the spinner, which he really lacked in New Zealand. He just let Santner and Maharaj in the first test, his Centurion, just bowl at him.
Yeah, but he's got it there off the pace, man, so maybe he'll develop.
Rabada again, pulled by Stokes, doesn't really get everything on it, and it's down to long on, where Philander does the fielding. Gary, I love the way you lean towards me conspiratorially, as though I was the only one here that you're talking to.
You're talking to several hundred thousand
it's a very fetching quality.
Yeah, I just did some digging. Ben Stokes' career strike rate in Test cricket is 3.52 runs and over. His strike rate at Newlands is 6.81 runs and over.
Wow.
Arthur Patricia says, lead of 400, declare at or just before tee, with Sibley on that crucial 135 not out.
Yeah, England really have been, well, one hesitates to say faultless, but they've just there's been one drop this morning, hasn't there? But they've just attacked this exactly right. In comes Rabada. And Sibley, never mind all this nonsense of striking every ball that's there to the boundary. If it's there to have a good leave, give it the good leave, and that's precisely what he does, watching this through to Quentin de Kock.
Yes, he's added 20 of the partnership of 92 are almost a run a ball.
Well, as we've said many times, that's what he is there for.
Oh no, I'm very much enjoying the contrast.
The other thing which is lovely to see was just the reaction in the England dressing room. I mean, this has been a tough old tour for them so far, where just about everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and they leapt as a man, as this one is short, and Sibley ducks underneath it. Yeah, to a man in that England dressing room, they leapt up into the air, and were clearly just ever so delighted for a man who's sort of got kind of slowly into his work as a test opener, but you could say he's arrived now, couldn't you?
It's always good to see teammates enjoying each other's success. We do have some friends with us on Cricket Tracker. Surrender Mukhya says hi. Punjabians Jut says very nice. Vipasu Gautam says hi, lazy persons.
Is that us?
Command Singh
Lazy
says
persons.
okay, and Smith Junior Phillips says West Indies the best in the world. Apparently this tweet is from 1984. This Facebook message: we can win anywhere at any given time. Talk nah. Gale 3 shots with many hundreds and 2 triple hundreds. Fair point.
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I mean, Alistair Cook had 3 shots, and he's now Sir Alistair Cook. There's the understanding of one's own game, and then the playing within limitations until it's appropriate to go beyond that. It's a much underrated skill.
Are we back live again?
Oh,
he's
good
gone.
catch.
Well, I'm afraid we are, and I'm afraid Stokes has Maharaj. So Maharaj does have his wicket. Ben Stokes is looking to drive him on the up through mid-on, has driven it straight down the throat of long on, and has had to go, but 72 off 47 is not a bad contribution, so very well played him. He's taken the England lead to 356 in partnership with Dom Sibley, who is still there.
He's completely broken South Africa. 72 off 47 balls, striking at just over 9 and over, 7 fours and 3 sixes. He nearly killed Rassie van der Dussen at long on. That was a pretty good catch.
Oh, he took it well, but it was straight down his throat, although it was like a tracer bullet, as they say. But Rassie van der Dussen was, let's say, he never looked like dropping it. He was solidly and safely behind it.
Who says that? Is it?
That went like a tracer bullet.
That is the one. I think if you look at that innings by Ben Stokes, I mean, possibly disappointing he didn't go on because it was so entertaining. But if you wanted to play an innings that was, tailor-made for the situation, that was pretty much it.
It was completely selfless from Ben Stokes. He was completely doing what the team needed him to do, and breaking South Africa, as I was saying. I think you're being, I don't know, all for being greedy actually as Test batting goes, because I think you do need a bit of that. But it would have been fun to watch that go on for a little bit longer. But it was fun while it lasted, and this man will be pretty fun to watch too.
Well, it will be. It's my venerable brother, the Pope.
It was exactly the kind of innings that Adam Gilchrist played for so well for so long for Australia. So here's a jingle.
Batted, of course, quite magnificently in the first innings, did young Ollie.
It might get lost in the wash, actually, that innings, given Sibley's 100 and what might be and Anderson's 5 but that innings kept England in the game.
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, we were all saying that England had got enough, they were short, it was poor. And yes, they did collapse, and yes, it was disappointing. But, if ever the old adage of as we wait for Maharaj to be in, and Pope just is that Ollie? Yes, it is. As Ollie Pope just pushes us away to square leg for no run. If ever the old adage of wait until both sides have batted before you judge the state of play, it was true, wasn't it? In comes Maharaj, left arm over, reverse swept to get himself off the mark. But there is a man down there at deep square leg, so he'll only get himself a single. But he's away and running.
It's a completely free shot from Ollie Pope, as it was with Root, because that's so far outside leg stump. You're not going to be out bowled, you're not going to be at LBW. There's no one in a catching position.
Born in Chelsea. I wonder if he was born at the Chelsea in Westminster then. Ollie Pope. Anyone know? Let us know.
I was less disappointed than most for that 269 because at lunch I thought it was a 300 pitch, it was par score, and I think that's probably fair enough. It's England are obviously going to score more than 300 in the third innings. The pitch has gone to sleep a little bit, but England have got on top, and then they've done what they failed to do for quite a long while actually, which is have the foot on the throat and then keep it pressed there, as evidenced by England's inability to score over 400 in an innings, particularly often over the last 3 or 4 years.
They may get there today by dint of almost being in one-day mode to get to it. As this is pushed away around the corner, down to long leg. It's an easy single. So Sibley continues in his sedate, controlled, statesman-like almost way, as mayhem has been going on around him. Brings Ollie Pope back onto strike. 312 for 5, England. 358 the lead. Maharaj should be relieved indeed. Tosses it up outside leg stump, and again the pad becomes the first line of defence once more, this time from Pope.
He's had a tricky old time with Vikesh Maharaj recently.
Anybody slightly surprised that Buttler didn't come in to smash it all over the place?
Only mildly.
As this one was tossed up, but misfielded at square leg.
Oh dear.
And Vernon Philander, who apparently is not feeling 100%, will
the news this morning.
Rabada, who he was nutmegged, I'm afraid, by a ball that only just rolled towards him.
Dare I give it this? I mean, you could have that for the whole session, really.
It was a bit harsh. It was possibly harsh, and I mean, it was lazy and tired fielding almost, rather than the outright comic. But he did somehow allow himself to be nutmegged by a ball that really wasn't travelling very fast.
Yeah, we understand that. Vernon Philander did bowl, of course, today with a little bit. We understand he's feeling better, but Anrich Nortje was feeling not so great this morning. Was off the field a little bit, but he is now back on. We have some people with us.
One suspects his ringtone might be a little off colour.
Indeed. Lovely. Linux Lear sends in a tweet from Wisden Cricket of Sibley's Warwickshire teammates watching the game. And being
onto the back foot goes Pope, nicely in behind it. No run.
Watching Dom Sibley and punching the air. There's a little sign on the wall here that says "Make the Bear Proud" in the Warwickshire changing room. So Linux Lear says, "Is the Hoff Bear proud?" Anna Forsyth says, "Just had a conversation with my roommate about Sibley's 100, and he's one of the 3 cricketers she remembers: Angry Owl, Sibley; Hitler Moustache, Blair Tickner; and Problematic Fave, Ben Stokes."
Problematic who?
Fave. As in favourite.
As in favourite. Oh, okay. In comes Rabada, past umpire Damascena. Pope drops the bat on it just to guide it past backward point, and they will take a single.
Mike Mehol Wood says, when are we talking declaration? Yes, we are in full declaration speculation mode. A session of Stokes, Pope and the Universe Jos in full T20 mode, and then call it at T?
Well, we've got to go to lunch first, but yes, it was quite surprising maybe they didn't put Buttler in, but maybe England feel, I would have said at the start of play, if they bat till T, as Rabada's in, worked off his legs again by Sibley to Maharaj at mid-wicket. He throws in, and Pope had to hurry, but they end up taking the single. I would have said if they got to T, Gary, and then declared that, then we'd be absolutely in the box seat. But Ben Stokes has rather accelerated things, hasn't he?
I still think 420, which at this rate will probably come about 20 minutes after lunch. So I don't think you need more than 420, and batting until T to get a lead of 460, that seems a bit
it's time rather than runs that's at the consideration. I think possibly halfway through the second session.
In comes Rabada again, and once again onto the back foot goes the young Bishop of Rome.
Give yourself maybe an hour before tea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair compromise. I'd like it to be a little sooner than that. If 420's on the board, then what's the world record chase? A little
417.
417. Well, there we are.
And here the biggest is 334. I think.
Yeah, although that was chased down for not that many wickets lost, but yes, chasing that sort of score is it's never been done. Literally over 420.
Jared.
Rabada in once more. Oh, and he's dragged on. Ollie Pope has dragged on his, I think that might be his leg stump, but Rabada has his first wicket. And second wicket, I beg your pardon. Ollie Pope, probably a lack of footwork there. He was looking to drive through the offside, inside edged it, and he has to go. So well bowled Rabada. And we probably will see Jos Buttler. I was going to speculate that perhaps they were slightly protecting Buttler. It's his leg stump. So he carved it. It was a big inside edge, wasn't it? I think perhaps they were slightly protecting Buttler, because if you sent him in just to thrash and he got out for, say, 10, he's probably at a stage in his England career where people are looking at his scores going, you're just not doing enough. And that wouldn't have helped it.
Yeah, well, that's true. We'll jingle up the dismissal, perhaps again a little harshly.
You silly little boy, what on earth were you playing at?
Playing at a back of a length delivery. No, he got the angle slightly wrong, but
he did.
It almost doesn't. The only thing that England's new batsmen can't do at this stage that would be, or that they can do, it would be hurtful for the team, is eating up deliveries and not scoring runs.
Yeah.
It's almost like a one-day international game now, where it's whatever you do it quickly, unless you're Dom Sibley.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got to aim as a team to go at a run a ball here, and I think Sibley's got to be wise to that. I think if Buttler or whoever comes in and they are struggling to time it and the field starts coming in, I think he's got to be more expansive. He's not playing for the red ink now. He's got his 100. If there's runs being scored at the other end, then sure, he can continue on his own merry way. But I think he's got to be wise to the fact that anything less than 5 and over, and England are really sort of handing a little bit back to South Africa. They don't want a spell now of 6 overs going for 14 runs or something.
Well, no, they don't, and I think this could make this, as the 29-year-old blue-eyed Jos Buttler comes to the crease. It's rather an interesting challenge for him, because he does need to put runs on. By his own admission, he has said he's underperformed for England in his own book, and he has to steer this one around the corner just back with a square leg, and does get off the mark straight away,
and has a jingle.
And he, I'm sure, has a jingle as well, yes. Somewhere.
Here we go.
Here he is.
Prior ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone Sattler. Okay, he can't spell Jos, but he also can't spell Butler. Jos Buttler. Just because he is Jos Buttler. One S and two T's, Jos Buttler.
That one kept slightly low from Rabada there, which England won't be that disappointed.
I'm not sure about that. I just don't think it was as short as Pope thought it was. Jos Buttler is not one of these players, even though he is a very aggressive and has a most extraordinary range of stroke. He's not somebody who goes hard from ball one in limited overs circumstances. Actually, this is probably a good situation. Well, I mean, obviously it's a good situation for Buttler, but he can nurdle along at just under a run of ball before get the pace of the pitch before starting to go completely bonkers.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Well, like I say, I think it's interesting because there is another school of thought that says Jos Buttler just go in and play what would be your natural game, and if it comes off, you'll end up with 50 or 60 anyway. As this one rips and turns, so I'm sure Dom Best won't mind seeing that.
Yeah, a bit of bounce out the footmark.
And Buttler was looking to pull it away, but it just climbed on him just a little bit more than he was expecting.
He's now got a seam mark on his shirt.
Yes, indeed he does. In skips Maharaj onto the back foot goes Buttler just to push it back to the bowler. I mean, an average of 33 in 30-something tests, and only the 100.
Yeah,
that's you would hope for more, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he had a good year when he first came back into the team.
As this one is worked away into the leg side.
I mean,
I would imagine they've taken a single, haven't they?
He made.
If they didn't, why not?
I don't know, actually. It's an interesting point.
They did.
Leg
yes.
by, yeah. He made some very important contributions against Pakistan and against India and against Sri Lanka, but it's not been a very good 2019 for him.
I mean, I was saying to Hendo in the car on the way here, I mean, let's face it, there's all this criticism of Buttler, but Ben Folkes has only got 102.
He's not had a great season, has he, for Surrey? Has he been carrying the weight of captaincy as well?
No,
Surrey?
he hasn't, but it was a disappointing season, but of course in far fewer test matches.
Gives this plenty of air, and Sibley just nurdles it around the corner for a single. 3-18 for 6.
I take your point, he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing, Buttler, but if Buttler isn't in the side to advance a lead of 364 to a lead of 430, then what is he in the side for?
No, I agree. It's I think the question is, how does he approach doing it? Because it seems to be Knuckles going, take your time, get yourself set, as he goes onto the back foot and works this to Van der Dusen, who is at extra cover.
I mean, you talk about playing. You talk about playing your natural game, but that is his natural game. Is that he'll get himself in with singles.
Buttler again just takes a step back, waits for that, and drops bat on it.
Because if Buttler is 7 off 19, but he can then score 30 off the next 15 balls, and it doesn't matter anymore.
So you're saying he's kind of it is a situation tailor-made for him.
Yeah,
and I'm sure
it's like coming in the 30th over of a one-day international.
I can think of at least 2 gorillas who are willing him to make the most of that situation.
I love watching Jos Buttler bat. It's one of the greatest joys in cricket.
I think if he's 30 not out at lunch, he's done his job, and I don't care how he gets there. But if he's not 30 not out at lunch, then...
Yeah, we do have some tweets. Kunal Talani, interesting Doctor Who reference, topical Doctor Who reference perhaps, spoiler alert. Distracted by constant drumming, didn't know Dom Sibley was the master. Evil Scooter says, a maiden century for Dom Sibley. Hopefully those on Guerrilla Cricket and elsewhere that were trying to find replacements for him after the first innings can walk back off the ledge. Linux Lear says, now I will miss Ravi Shastri on comms for the rest of the day. Thanks for that. Peter Lloyd says, I'll apologise for that. I started looking at fastest ever test hundreds. I think that's the Stokes wicket. Durban Oak says, with Ollie Pope, could there be an ecclesiastical England team? Arthur Patricia says, premium chump though he is, Shane Warne is auctioning his baggy green for Aussie bushfire relief, which is quite a gesture.
And it was, and congratulations to him for that. Anuric Norkia, so unwell he may be, but he's back on the pitch. But the bat is dropped upon that by Sibley, and they take a quick single. So he's replacing Rabada, so we might need a jingle at some point.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, sorry.
You want to lean back in the general direction of the jingle machine, Gary?
Busy thinking about a change in the commentary box, but yes, that's
3:19 for 6.
If your number one project is to have yourself a bride, I think I've got your number one guy. He was bought by a franchise when he was buying meat. It's Anuric It's Henri Noquier.
2 for 37 he has thus far. He's bowled well in the series, I think. As Nokia, in he comes and worked off his pads to mid-on. Where is that? Vern at
KG Rabada.
Oh, it's Rabada, is it?
He's a man who looks ill, isn't he?
He's slightly swallowing a little bit. He looks a little bit wan. Nuff says on Twitter, how many sessions required to bolt SA out? And this is a lovely little bit of Edwardian language. Slightly unseemly rush to declare.
An unseemly rush. You don't want an unseemly rush. As Nokia, this magnificent ground. Shame about that huge bit of building work in the corner there. As that's
wow!
Butler's just lofted that over long off for 6. Well, he's the gloves are off. I mean, not literally, but
there's nothing wrong with that ball whatsoever. It's a length ball outside off stump, and he's drilled him hard and flat back over his head. And I reckon Nokia is bowling 90 miles an hour.
I mean, Buttler is so much better when he plays in the V, rather than trying to manipulate with reverse sweeps and try to do too much either side of the wicket. Just hit it in the V like that.
You're watching the ball sailing into the distance towards that
plays like that.
Weinberg end. As he stands tall to this, drops back on it. It's away through backward point. They'll just take an easy single for that one. I can see a looming shadow. It's the looming shadow of Rob. Resplendent this morning in a Wasps rugby tracksuit top.
Yeah. Gary's going to come on to ball by ball. Rob Sutton's going to replace me on the tweets, and the Bears going to take over jingles. I'm a little bit behind on tweets, so I might just get a few in. Jolliwala says, morning fellow primates, well done Sibley, and great turnaround for England after the first test.
Yeah,
it seems like England being able to bat long and occupy the crease has been a long time coming. Kiwi Callie says, remember that Warne preferred to wear a floppy white hat, and the myth of the baggy green was a Steve Waugh creation. No love lost between those two. Indeed.
Nokia is continuing from that Weinberg end. And, short. And Sibley just ducks his head to one side to let that through to Quintin de Kock. 143 kilometres an hour. That's probably about 89 miles an hour.
Anna Forsyth says, if you want to know if Pope was born at Chelsea, Westminster, surely the best people to ask are the nurses on shift last week. Get it? Because he's an actual baby. Linux Leah says, the real question here is, can Roots reluctant to declare bat England out of a victory here? Mog says, the collapse is on!
Morning, Mog. Hi, Mog. Hello. In comes Nokia, turns on top of his run. He's in now and worked away into the onside. Sibley looking for a single. Jos Buttler realised it would have been completely suicidal and just sent him back. Calm down, son. There's still time. 3:27 for 6. 3:73 the lead. There is a 1 ball left of this Nokia over. He won't take kindly to being lofted for 6 over long off by Jos Buttler. He is looking he's not looking great, is he? Yeah, he's looking somewhat under the weather. 2 slips go down. Sibley just leans into it, drops it away 2 points. 3:27 for 6. And we will have a change.
I'm going to read
we'll see you later.
Yeah, I'm going to read a few tweets while the other fellas get settled. James Harmbeston says, evening Gorillas, back from watching Australia demolish New Zealand at the SCG and enjoying your commentary of the upcoming England collapse. Frankly, an England collapse now wouldn't matter. It actually might make England more likely to win. Durban Oak says, what lead would England declare on? 450. Arthur Patricia, point about Jos Buttler. His figures will be fine for a keeper, but he's played a lot of games as a specialist bat, and he's not as good a keeper as Folkes, and Pope is a better choice for a specialist 6. And Durban Oak says, I guess don't mention the football now Gary Naylor is on mic.
Oh yes. Yeah, Gary. Yeah, Gary. The kids.
That was a screamer from Curtis Jones.
It was.
And on that, Gary.
I was at work, so it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a splendid sort of 2/3 or 3/4 of a session for England. They're losing wickets now, but as we say, it doesn't really matter. Maharaj is in outside off stump, and Butler kind of offers a bat and then stares at the umpire saying, aren't you calling that wide? But I think, Jos, you're thinking it's a one-day game, which may not be a bad mindset for Jos Buttler to be in, but they're not called wide in one day. As Maharaj's figures 1 for 126. He's in his 38th over as Buttler goes back, nurdles this to the left hand of Rabada, who fakes a dive, and then Elgar Field goes back to the cock. England 328 for 6. The lead is 374. When do you think England will declare, Burr?
Oh, I think they'll look for 450. I think just because where they are now, they've got 300. They only need 75 runs now to get a 450 lead, and they've still got 5 sessions and half an hour to go. So even if they bat for an hour after lunch and it all slowed down, Sibley could actually still carry his bat here now, couldn't he? I mean, everyone else is going to be plundering away at the other end, and Sibley's just going to play his game.
Oh, I don't think Broad's going to trouble the scorers. What do you think, Rob?
I think there's more chance of England being bowled out than having to worry about a declaration.
Yeah.
I think they'll declare at 420 a lead, which is only 46 runs away.
An hour after lunch, that's when it will be.
Launches this, goes down on one knee,
He's
and
got
says,
another game.
anything you can do, I can do better. And that went way over cow corner. Lovely shot, actually. Lots of control. He does look, for all of his sort of heaviness, I mean, he does look like a wing forward. When England came out to bat with Stokes and Sibley this morning, they looked like a pair of 6s and 7s from a rugby union side. But he's actually very balanced at the crease. He gets his head in a good position, and he really kind of, it wasn't so much a slog sweep as down on one knee and lift probably over mid-on, or long-on rather than mid-wicket. It was a lovely shot.
It was. It's out in the building site.
Yeah, he goes back to this one. It's a quicker ball, and the inside edges it onto his pads there. He's earned that little bit of luck. But it's a good bit of bowling from Maharaj around the wicket this time to Sibley. England's lead now 380. Maharaj in again, and Sibley gets one on leg stump, and he simply helps it on its way. Now Sibley attacking as much as anybody else now, goes to the deep square leg boundary for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that answers our discussion earlier about Sibley having more gears.
Yeah, totally. I was about to say that myself.
I've seen him make decent scores in T20 cricket, although he did look a little frenetic in those T20 games. Interestingly, he was bowling for Surrey in some of those T20 games in 2018.
Bit of leg spin, isn't it?
Leg spin.
Yeah.
I think he opened for Surrey bowling. His leg spin, they got all bowled and opened the bowling.
Maharaj back over the wicket this time, trying to mix it up, and Jos Buttler or Sibley rather, just pads that one away from outside the leg stump. England 338 for 6. Buttler has 9. Sibley 119.
Davis Harrigan tweets, this is on the baggy green topic, says, we bought into the baggy green story, so any chance to be part of owning one will always be snapped up for big dollars. Anna Forsyth says, watching Jos Buttler bat is one of the greatest joys in cricket, but also watching Buttler inhale and exhale is one of the greatest joys in life.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Just watching him breathe, is that what you're trying to say?
I think the fact he's on the planet.
I think, yeah.
Big love. So his big blue eyes.
Blue eyes.
His rather canned voice. It always amazes me, the voice that comes out of Butler's mouth.
Yeah, he and KP together, not quite in the Daniel Farker league, but not far off. So Nokia is in, and this is defended by Buttler, and there is no run. If you enjoy Daniel Farker's interviews, by the way, go to @DFImpressionist on Twitter, where there's some very good impersonations of Daniel Farker.
Who's Daniel Farker?
Manager of Norwich.
Oh, right.
Who's German, and he speaks like that.
Oh, yes, I know.
We were very good today. Very, very good today.
But we lost again.
Yeah.
He reminds me a bit of that guy Wagner.
They're quite similar.
Yeah.
And here's Nokia, and he's in, and Buttler hits this high and handsome to deep square leg. Has he picked out a man? He has, but he's 10 rows back in the crowd.
I thought that was straight up in the air, but there you go. Speaking of which, my daughter, mate, have you seen that fucking programme on ITV, Masked Singers or whatever?
I
couldn't believe it.
I watched the first one, yeah.
Jesus, what a fucking shit excuse for a TV programme.
Don't hold back,
please. How much more can you get karaoke on the telly with some fucking useless... Alan Johnson. I fell asleep on a sofa. Apparently Alan Johnson was in. I went, bloody hell. Alan Johnson? What What the fuck is he doing on a singing programme?
Nokia is in, and Buttler goes back and he punches this off the back foot into the covers, where Dean Elgar, who's got a lot of work coming up, fields it, returns. They're through for 2. I'm pretty quick to criticise Jos Buttler, but had he holed out there at deep square, I wouldn't have minded.
No. Totally. Sorry, my little rant there. I just couldn't believe that.
I don't watch any network telly that these days, except maybe for University Challenge. With Netflix, and now I'm watching Apple TV's series For All Mankind, which is absolutely fantastic.
Have you watched Messiah?
No, I haven't. I haven't
That's
seen
good.
Chernobyl. There's loads of stuff I need to see. But, I mean, there's so much dross, in my less than humble opinion, on network TV.
Oh, yeah, there is. I don't even watch news. Dracula was good.
So I hear. Nokia is in, hoping to extract some blood from England's ranks, but goes back to Buttler and he punches it off the back foot to extra cover, where Dean Elgar comes round the boundary and they jog an easy 2. The lead is approaching 400 now. Indeed, it's 394. And I think England have played this just about perfectly. It's been a dream morning in Cape Town, no doubt, with the mountain in the background, the Indian Ocean in front of you. Who could ask for more?
Well, indeed. Is it the Indian Ocean, not the Southern Ocean? Where's Cape Town? Is it on the coast up on the side, or is it? I thought it was right down the bottom.
Maybe it's where the 2 oceans meet. As Buttler goes back and he lifts this over the infield to Cow Corner. It was a kind of pull, and it's Peter Malan who comes round and fields, and they take another easy 2. Nokia looks very much under the weather here. I wonder.
Well, now they know how we felt in the first bloody test.
Yeah, I wonder, what benefit there is. 350 up for England, but I wonder what benefit there is in exposing an inexperienced bowler really to this kind of carnage. Surely somebody else could have a bowl. I mean, it doesn't matter who's bowling. It's going at, as we say here, 6-2-2-2. Why expose a young player, or certainly a player making his way in the game?
Oh, we have a note from Knackle.
Nokia is in again, and this is clattered by Buttler.
I was just about to get on there.
Brilliant stop by Milan down at deep square leg there. Confines them to 2 because he absolutely middled that pull. And really, Nokia can barely walk, and he should be taken out of the firing line. At the end of the over, England's lead is 398. Buttler has 23, Sibley 119.
There you go, I was right. Cape Town is on the Atlantic Ocean, just to the west of the southern tip of Africa. Okie dokie.
enough.
The GPL. Yeah, the GPL is open for another 18 minutes. Guesstimate the amount of runs scored during the entire day, and you stand a chance of winning what the pot is. The pot is around 50 quid this morning. Not around, a round, as in circular. Perfect 50 it started off at this morning. 217, 247 and 297. A big spread there from Hombre Nuevo. He's the first man in today, and England have scored how many runs already today? Must be 120, 130. So 217 would seem quite short, unless of course we bowl them out for bugger all later in the day, which would mean a day off tomorrow, which wouldn't be so bad.
Maharaj is in. He's round the wicket to the left-handed, right-handed Buttler, trying to.
Sibley.
Oh yes, sorry. Trying to bowl him round his legs. I've got some sympathy with Nokia because, of course, I'm somewhat under the weather myself. So, yes, there may be the odd error, not just oceans, but bowlers. As Maharaj and batsman, Maharaj is in. This is defended by Sibley, and there is no run. England 352 for 6. I think they want to declare at lunch.
I don't think they will. I think they'll just carry on for a little bit. I mean, if you're this far ahead of the game.
It's 134 runs scored today. Extraordinary scoring rate by England. And Sibley almost falls over. Yeah, in his attempt to play. We need a word for that shot because it's not quite a leg glance. It's more of a kind of slap the ball behind the keeper because it's not a
horizontal bat, is it? It's kind of vertical. You're kind of shoveling it behind.
It's trying to slap it. This ball is a more conventional leg glance, and Rabada's there for that, and there is no run. It gets played a lot in one-day cricket. It's almost you wait till the ball is past you on the leg side
and then help it around.
Yeah. Maharaj is in, and Sibley gets an inside edge, and Rabada can do nothing with that because it was an edge rather than a glance. and it goes to the boundary for 4. England's lead rises above 400. And I'm giving Sibley some credit there because I think he deliberately edged that. I think he was looking for it to go very fine.
Yeah, he kind of stopped the bat, didn't it, so that the ball came onto the bat right at the last minute and then came off the inside edge.
I'm always amazed, Bear, and you're a left-arm spinner, so you can tell me how quickly the ball goes to the boundary. It seems to gain pace off
well,
the bat.
he's still bowling at 55 miles an hour, aren't he?
As this ball is just padded up by Sibley, as he's done brilliantly, really, throughout the innings. That's the end of the over. England are 356 for 6. Your tweets.
Aidan has tweeted us to say, I always think Jos's voice sounds like a comedy character doing an impression of a posh person.
Yeah, that's about right. It's like with a bit of helium involved.
This is a good one from Chris, who says, I was made to watch The Masked Singer as payback for a day of cricket and football, so my enduring was partially your fault.
Well, yeah, true. And what did you think of it? It was fucking drivel, man.
It was just, I don't understand. I'd like to have been in the ITV meeting when someone pitched this idea.
Yeah, it's an American show, though.
Oh,
it's
is
been
it?
popular in America.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Well, I've managed to avoid it when I've been in America. Sally R56 says, Warne commented on his preference for the wide brim hat when in the field while announcing the baggy green auction. He also mentioned Steve Waugh's policy of wearing the baggy green in the first fielding session.
Yeah, they all had to come out with baggy greens on under Steve Waugh. Red handkerchief in the back pocket was, however, optional. So England lead by 402. I've got a feeling they are going to declare at lunch, as Nokia is in, and he goes back to Jos Buttler and attempts the lap, and he's out. He gets out playing that shot so often in all forms of the game. Why don't you just try and hit it back in the V?
Well, because he likes it, because, that's
I know, he gets out playing it over and over again.
I know. I'm sure, actually, Nokia probably won't mind bowling. There's cheap wickets to be had here. Did he actually hit that?
Well, he walked.
He walked, but it seemed to be that it was over the bat and he didn't get anything on it. Maybe he just walked because it was such a shit shot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
No, he did,
somebody with the power that he has in the V seems so reluctant to use it.
Well, presumably he wants more than a single out to the. They've probably got everyone out on the fence.
But he's hit one. I think huge six in the V, and it's about the only shot he tried to play in the V. I just don't understand it. I keep getting told what an intelligent cricketer Jos Buttler is, and the more I see it, the more I think he's really no clue how to make the most of what is an enormous talent.
Well, Sammy Curran let the ball straight onto his stumps in the last innings, which is... did you see that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, reminiscent of Mike Gatting, I think, albeit left-handed. And he's a player who tends to make the most of his talents.
Well, yeah.
Is he a batter or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. He starts from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
I don't really want to bag Buttler too much because he made 23 off 18 balls, which I think anybody would have settled for when he came out to bat in those circumstances. And I think, as Tony Bishop said, it's on a little bit of a hiding to nothing because there's lots of talk about Ben Foakes and his output in 2019 and now in 2020 has not been great for Buttler, but he played that innings for his team and he got out trying to hit a boundary, so I wouldn't want my criticism to be too forthright.
Let's do a tweet just before Sam Curran face up. One World has said Tom Banton is absolutely carving it up in the BBL. Rain shortened game. He's 55 off 16 and still going. Bodes well for England's T20 World Cup.
Well, there's some talk of Banton being a bit more than that. I think he is an interesting player. I mean, Zach Crawley's got the jump on him a bit at the top of the order, but Banton may be someone that England need to think about getting into the Test side. He has scored first-class runs for Somerset. He's still very raw, but he's a huge talent.
Well, there's a lot of youngsters, isn't there? I mean, Sammy Curran's 21, Sibley's 24, Crawley's 21.
There were 4 players under the age of 23. First time England have done that since the 1950s, it seems, in this 11. And Curran, again, it's almost a microcosm of his Test career there. He got a ball that was perfectly acceptable on fourth stump outside. And he managed to do what he wanted to do, which was to nurdle a single into the offside and get off strike. He's so good at doing what the match situation demands, Curran, whether with bat or ball.
I mean, I know it wasn't doing a lot the first day, and I think he was the weak link actually in the bowling attack in the first innings. He every time he came on, they were able to get runs.
Yeah, and he will go for runs, and those of us who've seen his career at Surrey since he was first in the side at 17 know that, as Sibley just ducks out the way of this bouncer, and there is no run, because he will pitch the ball up looking for swing. And one of the things I like about Curran, there's a lot to like about him, is that he's a swing bowler who always looks for swing. He's not prepared to accept, it's not swinging today, I need the ball to change, it's sunny or anything like that. He says, this is what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it. And if you don't want Curran to be driven for 4, don't pick him, because he's not going to do anything other than pitch that ball up, look for the swing, and then bowl cutters, again fairly full as an alternate. But it's Sibley on strike. 295 deliveries he's been out there, and Nokia bowls, and Sibley does what he's not supposed to be able to do, which is nudge a single into the offside. He goes to 124. England 358 for 7. Nokia's bowling at 88 miles an hour, despite looking very green about the gills.
Yeah.
I remember Steve Harmison, losing his run-up completely in Australia on one of the tours, and he was still bowling at 88, 89 miles an hour. It seems some people can just do this regardless of circumstances.
Some of them, it's in the action, isn't it, in the arm over the top. And I always thought that would harm us, and he lumbered up to the crease a little bit. And
snap of the wrist. Snap of the wrist as Nokia is in and bowls a bouncer that goes over Quinton de Kock's head. And that's a big effort that from Nokia to do that. This is brave bowling, albeit not productive there, because it went to the fence.
Straight through the keeper, went through the keeper, gone through the keeper, that's through the keeper, it's through the keeper, straight through the keeper.
Blue Oyster Cult, who these days would get something of a trigger warning, I suspect, but in those days it used to be on Radio 1 at lunchtime. Happy sound of Radio 1!
Yeah, well, a lot of things. There's all this stuff on the BBC BritBox or whatever it is, bloody racist shit from the 70s.
Is there? I thought it was all banned.
No, well, they've had to put warnings on a load of it, haven't
they?
Yeah.
Dear. As Curran faces up, and this ball goes through to the keeper. Another good effort from Nokia. This pitch is not dead, That was taken above the head of Quinton de Kock. It's the end of the over. England are 362 for 7. Your tweets!
A bit more on that Tom Banton innings from Ling Mao. It's a reduced game, 8 overs aside, and the Brisbane Heat were, a few moments ago, 90 for no wicket after 5 overs.
Jesus.
And Banton hit 5 sixes in an over off Arjun Nair. He is now out, though, for 56. James Humberston would love to compare Sibley's strike rate before and after his century. He's definitely kicked on.
Yes, he's gone from pretty slow to probably sort of average England scoring rate, but he's not in really for scoring rate. He's into
blunt
back time.
attacks and back time,
and that's exactly what he's done.
It is absolutely what he's done. Speaking of trigger warnings and the like, I very much enjoyed Jojo Rabbit that I saw last week as Sibley clips this into the leg side and takes a sharpish single, but Sam Curran's alive to it.
And what is Jojo Rabbit?
Jojo Rabbit is about a kid who is a fervent admirer of Adolf Hitler in the later days of the war, 1944-45. It's a comedy by a New Zealand stand-up comedian and director who's called something Waititi. But it's a film not like any other that I've seen, although it has echoes of The Producers and one or two other things. But it's beautifully scripted, beautifully acted, at times terribly funny, at other times terribly moving. Not everybody likes it. Peter Bradshaw in The Guardian gave it 1 star because he's too cool for school, but I loved it. As this is slashed by Curran
lovely shot
through extra cover. That really was a good shot. It was a half volley. It needed to be put away, and boy was it put away.
It's Nissan She. It's me, says she.
I mean, shouldn't Faf bowl himself a bit here? He's just having Maharaj. He's destroying his confidence for the next 2 tests.
Well, it
isn't
does
he?
seem a bit weird, isn't he? He's had him on since the new ball came along.
Has he bowled more or less unchanged?
He has bowled.
He's
more or
bowled
less
unchanged, I think, this morning.
I mean,
with the new ball. I mean, you got a new ball. You might as well put your 2 best bowlers on, don't you?
Yeah, but he's just cannon fodder at the moment, and defends that does Curran. Maharaj's figures are 1 for 146. He's bowled better than that, but I mean, I just think that Faf is really hiding behind Maharaj here. It's not really very good. This one is dragged down short, and Curran goes back, realises it was going to either bowl him or be LBW, and I think he wound in what was going to be launched over square leg, and instead just punched it into the leg side. There was no run. He's in again is Maharaj, and this is just eased in front of square, where Rabada comes round. Now. Another misfield from the South Africans, but no run taken. England's lead now 414, which I think for a while was the highest score in a run chase.
It was. I think Dominic Best will be liking this one. He'll be round the wicket to the left-handers in the South African side. The most rough is out there.
I think Denley will get a bowl in the fourth innings.
Oh, that's my phone. That shouldn't be going off.
Maharaj is in, and this is defended by Sibley, who looks quizzically at the pitch. Now, what England need to do here, Sibley in particular, is start knocking down marks and looking terribly surprised at deliveries. Oh, that did a bit there, and all of this. He really does want to show that he's in extreme discomfort, some 298 balls into his innings.
Well, it's always a different game, isn't it, when you're coming in 414 to save a game? Suddenly the pitch will start doing all sorts, in the batsman's mind.
Even if it doesn't, just show that it is. Have a good look at it. Some solid performances with the bat there from England. In terms of the both innings, Sibley's got 159, Denley 69, Root 96, Stokes 119, Pope 64, and Buttler 52. You're not going to lose many Test matches where you're the body of your batting delivering scores like that, albeit across 2 innings. So it's pretty good, because the criticism of England, of course, has been that they are not making enough runs and collapsing, and some of that criticism may be born on your tweets.
Not criticism at the moment. We've got Chris Vickery, who's with us in Chiang Mai, who says, great coverage as always. I feel the need to inform you that my wife refers to this very enjoyable activity as me spanking my monkey.
Dear.
Wow.
Well, there's a euphemism for you. We have a new bowler round the wicket, and he's clipped contemptuously by Sam Curran, who knows how to miss a field.
He does indeed. Let's give him this.
I mean, it was helped on its way. It was more of a pull than a clip. But we'll jingle the new bowler, I think, in a moment. But dear me, Sam Curran is not a man you want to be bowling to in this situation.
Nope, it's this man.
Pretorius.
Whoa! Where did that come from? Dwayne Pretorius, bowling at about 75 miles an hour, has just got one to jump and all but hit Sam Curran in the throat. And Stuart Broad is laughing there, not because he's about to bat, but because he's thinking, if I hit that crack, boy, am I going to be in the game. I mean, that just went straight up out of the pitch. And it was good batting, actually, from Curran, who's been taken on the hand and might need a bit of the magic spray. Kept his eye on the ball until the very last moment. But where did that come from?
That's exactly what the England bowlers would have wanted to see.
Absolutely.
And the England batsman can waste a bit of time with a few minutes before lunch.
I was talking about England faking a bit of concern. They didn't need to. Jimmy Anderson is not in his whites, so England are going to send Stuart Broad out to bat. But clearly,
this will be the last over before lunch. And you have
is it last over?
2 minutes to get into the GPL. I think 3 entries so far. It's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because England scored so heavily already.
So England 418 the lead now. Curran comes down the track and defends that ball there. Are they looking for 2 more runs maybe before lunch in order to declare at lunch? Broad is padded up, ready to come out. But if a wicket falls the over before lunch, they go in, don't they?
Yeah, they will do.
So why is Broad padded up?
I don't know. Actually.
Maybe it's 2 overs left. I don't know.
Maybe they can claim the extra half hour or something.
Oh,
that's only if it's 9, I think.
Yeah. I
thought it was
so
8.
Too. Curran slaps this cut backwards of point. Man, he is good at finding gaps in the field, and it's the Milan down there who does the fielding, and they're through for 2. The lead is the 420 for which I was looking. I think that's plenty.
Oh, I think it's plenty. I think it was plenty at about 370, 380. However, there is that thing when you come out, you don't want to let South Africa come out all prepared to bat straight after lunch. You come out, even if you come out for 3 overs, because then they've got to go in and
give
get
them the 10
again.
minutes.
Yeah, I think that
it's all
maybe
about
a little
games.
bit overrated, but I do take the point. It might be handy to have Elgar running around the boundary a bit longer before he has to bat. For once, Curran fails to time that and drags one from outside off stump to mid on, and the South African fielders attempt to relay a throw and get that wrong, and then I think it's Rabada who slings the ball back in. They look a bit of a rabble here to South Africa, and I hate to say it because he's got lots of admirable qualities, but I think Faf du Plessis takes some of the blame for that, because there's some pretty poor stuff.
We've had Dom Sibley's strike rate from the green room. So up to his 100, his strike rate was 38.29, and it's been 75 since moving past his 100.
Well, there you go. Quality.
Pretorius is in, and Sibley gets one that squats a bit low, in direct contrast to the ball that almost took off Curran's head. Sibley defends. England will lunch on 375 for 7. The lead 421. It could not have gone better for England. Ben Stokes making a belligerent 75, and then a decent contribution from Jos Buttler with 29. Ollie Pope was busy but didn't last very long. But the man of the session has been Dom Sibley, who has registered his maiden Test century. He is still unbeaten, having batted well over a day. That's what England were looking for. After lunch, England might look for 1 or 2, 10 or 20 more quick runs, but then they'll be looking for wickets.
Indeed.
I'll rattle through some tweets before lunch. Arthur Patricia said leads over 400, so declaring at lunch or with 5 sessions left and no rain risk, put the game completely beyond doubt and declare an hour before tea, if not all out. If England are still batting an hour after lunch, I'll be surprised because it'll be all out. Strange Carrots Cobb, we've just finished watching the Masked Singer here in Holland. Bloody rubbish, full of Dutch celebs. Ling Mao, if Sibley gets to 129 and remains not out, his batting average will be 40. Jed Lyth on the Tom Banton innings said, I can't see any of the test over here, so watching the BBL, not a massive fan of 2020, but the Aussies do it far better than us, which is typical. Yeah, unfortunately that is correct. And Nestle Boy is with us. Hello to Nestlers. Currently listening 1,500 metres up in the Sierra Nevada.
Nice.
Lovely. And I tune in hearing Spanking My Monkey.
Yeah, well, this is Gorilla. Right, we've had Paul Smith every bloody session that we've had in this test. Not that it's not good, but I think you might have heard it. So we're going to play something else as it's day 4, and I'm just going to pick something randomly. I could give you some snooker, but I don't think I'm going to do that.
That's a bad miss.
New Zealand versus Australia World Cup game, that'll do. And we'll start there. Right, we'll see you after lunch.